Welcome to Cinemagic Reviews. In today's video, we will be going through the 2012 movie, Blue Lagoon, The Awakening. As the film opens, we are introduced to Emma, a young woman who excels in school and happens to be the class top student. Then there is Dean, a very sluggish lad who refers to her as the prom queen. As we see Emma get up early in the morning and check her daily calendar to see what she has to do, we can notice how different they are from one another. Dean, on the other hand, awakens, uses the restroom, and then begins playing a video game. He must be reminded by his father that he must attend school and that he is running late. Emma visits her buddy Lizzie at school. In the meantime, the class begins, and the teacher is shown informing the pupils about a trip they are taking the following day to Trinidad as they begin discussing in the hallway. Dean arrives immediately behind Emma as she rushes into the class. Their teacher, named Christensen, then goes on to give them further briefing about the trip. There is a different man named Stephen who has feelings for Emma, but Emma is not interested in him. Emma does not feel like getting closer to Stephen during this trip, despite her friend Lizzie's advice. Emma assures Lizzie that she will put her attention on having fun on this vacation and won't worry about who she should date. Emma notices Dean chopping an apple with a very cool knife while they are conversing. That bothers Lizzie. Helen, another girl, continues by revealing that she and Dean were classmates and that Dean is actually a pretty decent guy. However, Lizzie concurs, and after some time, Dean is approached by a teacher who notices his knife. She then immediately seizes his knife because it is too large for him to carry in his pocket. Dean is then taken to the principal's office since the teacher believes that bringing a knife to class is against the rules. The following day, Emma gets prepared to depart for her trip and expresses her gratitude to her mother for allowing her to do so. On the other hand, Dean's wealthy father also arrives to drop off his cherished son and warns him to exercise caution outside. He advises his kid to make the most of the opportunity because he worked very hard to get him on this trip. Stephen tries to flirt with Emma once again as they are about to board the bus, but she just ignores him. Instead, after a lengthy journey, they all arrive in Trinidad, where the teacher informs them that they are free to go out and have some fun as long as they return before dusk. The next thing we notice is that everyone is having fun in the pool. Stephen can't hold back his enthusiasm when he notices Emma in a bikini at the pool. But Dean declines to accompany them. Dean can be seen standing on the balcony staring at Emma when she is in the pool. At this point, Stephen appears, grabs Emma by the back, and submerges her. When Dean notices this, he departs. The next day, they are doing some construction as Mr. Christensen goes on to lead all the students into making a small school for the kids in Trinidad. Dean is seen doing backflips, and Stephen, seeing that, goes on to tell Emma that Dean is going to ruin the trip for everyone. The following day, Jude appears and informs the girls that Stephen has invited them all to a party while Emma is on a video conversation with her parents. Emma is not at all interested in attending this party because it will take place on a boat, but Lizzie coerces her into going, and she eventually agrees. They arrive at the party that evening, and Emma is not really excited to be there. She also finds Stephen kissing another female when she arrives, which makes her mood even worse. Dean is also present. When Emma passes by Dean, Dean asks her if she likes Stephen. Emma replies that she has no interest in either Stephen or anything else. This is when the police get there and tell everyone to get off the boat they are on. Emma ends up falling off the boat right into the sea, and no one notices the fall except Dean. Dean jumps into the water and helps her into a dinghy, wanting to avoid getting into trouble. Dean severs the line attaching the dinghy to the boat, only to discover there is no motor. Emma wants to get back to the bigger boat where the party is going on, but Dean tells her that if they got back there right away, they're going to get in trouble, so they should wait till the police leave and then they can go back. At this point, a storm arrives, making it impossible for them to reach the larger boat even if they wanted to. These two clutch on for dear life as the storm worsens and their little dinghy nearly flips. The following day, Christensen makes the announcement that the trip has been postponed due to the party these students attended the night before. Lizzie continues by informing the teacher that Emma did not return the previous evening. On the other hand, these two have made it through the storm and are currently close to a Caribbean island. Dean glances around. They are still a long way from the island. All they can see is sea. When Dean checks his phone, he discovers that it contains water. Emma is instructed to inspect hers. It is undamaged, but she reports that she is not receiving any signals. As Christensen continues to collect attendance, he discovers Dean is also absent. Dean continues to disagree when Emma suggests that they should have immediately joined the party boat. They turn their boat in the direction of the island after Emma further notes its presence. Christensen informs the police that two of their students have been missing since previous night and requests their help in finding them. They don't know if the children would be found because the officers inform them that they got lost in the water. After some difficulty, Emma and Dean finally make it to the island. Emma hastily checks her phone to see if there is service, but there is still no connection. After that, Dean finds a gun close to the island and decides to keep it. At this point, Dean's father finds out that his son has been absent and becomes concerned. In his hasty visit to the school to meet the principal, he also runs across Barbara, Emma's mother. When both parents inquire about their missing children, the principal informs them that he is unable to provide any specific information at this time. Back on the island, Emma and Dean start discovering the area. And as they move into the forest on the island, they come across a waterfall. Dean finds it really beautiful and goes on to ask Emma to take his picture, but she refuses. They then get on top of a hill to get a better view of the area, but they find no one. They then decide to get back to the beach. And Dean notices a cave. He tells Emma to turn on the torch on her phone, and as they are about to enter the cave, they are attacked by a group of bats. They end up falling into the pool near the waterfall and have some fun there. As soon as the two return to the beach, they discover that their boat has vanished. There, they only discover the life jacket. Dean advises them to attempt to construct their own boat because they need to return home. The two then just begin looking for materials they can use to construct a boat, but they are unsuccessful. The sun is going to set, and Dean and Emma just sit there as the sunset is breathtaking. As Emma speaks to him, Dean is too preoccupied to hear her because of the stunning sunset. He then avoids her query about where he is lost. The only nice thing that has occurred to them thus far is when Emma discovers some food in her bag. Dean and she split the food. Their parents, on the other hand, are at the airport waiting to board a flight to Trinidad to search for their children. As darkness falls, Dean and Emma are now seated close to one another. Dean advises Emma to ignore some sounds she hears. After noticing that she is cold, he continues by giving her his shirt. Emma then asks him why he refers to her as prom queen, and he responds that he does it because she is so stunning. After some time of conversation between the two, Emma detects a noise once more but is instructed to ignore it by Dean. They both nod off. And when Dean awakens the following morning, he discovers her scrawling SOS on the sand. Then, with her watching, he goes swimming. In the interim, their parents have arrived in Trinidad, and Christensen informs them that their children are being searched by the police and that they haven't even discovered the dinghy that the children used to escape that night, but there hasn't been any sign of them as of yet. Jack, Dean's father, then offers them some cash to deliver to the police so they can go to work right away. When Emma's sister phones her parents to check on her sister, the parents inform the little girl that they have not yet been able to locate Emma. Emma hears the unusual sounds again when she goes to the waterfall to collect some water, but she doesn't see anything. They discover some things to eat, such as coconuts, bananas, and other kinds of food. When Dean is fatigued, he immediately nods off. He then invites Emma to join him in lying down and places his hand on her back. Despite like it, she remains silent. Dean asks Emma about the sunscreen the following day as she is cleaning herself off in the waterfall, and she replies that he should look for it in the bag. He claims he did, but he was unable to locate it there. She then expresses further suspicion by letting him know that there is another person present on the island. Jack boards a helicopter and begins searching for the kids in the meantime. Later that evening, Emma discovers a human skull on the island and becomes incredibly frightened. Dean gives her a hug and encourages her to calm down. They finally kiss before having a hormone sandwich. The following morning, when she wakes up, she is terrified since she can't locate Dean anywhere. She walks to the jungle to look for him after calling for him. She discovers him digging and inquires about his activity. She asks him what's wrong when he starts acting strangely. Emma then falls and gets hurt. Dean tends to her wound, and the two then have some fun near the waterfall. Dean then tells her that he stays quiet at school since he lost his mother in an accident. The following day it rains, but Dean and Emma still have a great time. They make out before having their affair in the space. 1 month has passed, and Lizzie and the other girls have noticed that they have stopped hunting for Emma and Dean after seeing it reported on the news. She is angry. Days pass quickly, and while these two are enjoying the time of their lives, their worried sick parents are not. After handing out flyers with the children's images to onlookers, Barbara has now given up. Jack continues to desire to search for them as she makes her way back home. Meanwhile, Dean and Emma can be seen holding hands on the picturesque island, taking in nothing but the scenery and each other. She admits to him that he is significantly different at school and that they now truly love each other. Then Emma expresses her admiration for him, and he reciprocates by expressing his admiration for her. Emma notices a passing helicopter when the two of them are hanging out one day in the forest. They immediately sprint to the shore to send a signal. Additionally, they scramble to locate the flare cannon, but they are unsuccessful and the helicopter simply flies by. Emma searches for the flare rifle but is unable to locate it. Due to the frequent theft of their belongings, Emma is now certain that there is undoubtedly someone else on the island. The protagonist, Roar from the jungle, and he go into the jungle to investigate one day. When they encounter a Black Panther, Dean immediately begins to run. After some time, Emma comes across Dean, who is holding a knife as he lies in a pool of blood next to a Black Panther. The beast was slain by him. As Emma and Dean's sexual relations continue, they share further intimate details, including a mutual desire to have children, but the difficulty of life on the island and concern about her family increasingly strain Emma. One day, all their stolen stuff starts falling from a tree, and when they look, it turns out to be a monkey. Emma fires the flare gun right away to make a signal, and Dean is not too happy about that because he is loving the life there with Emma. They have been on the island for 100 days at this point. Finally, the helicopter approaches and sees them. The next thing we see is them being greeted at the airport by their loved ones. Dean, who is still a bit of an outsider, avoids approaching Emma in public as Emma is propelled into a more popular position at school. Their bond gets strained as they become used to daily life. Dean only goes to the prom because his father urged him, whereas Emma goes. Through the window, Emma notices Dean observing her from outside. Lizzie, Emma's friend, urges her to visit him. The movie ends with a passionate kiss between Emma and Dean followed by a dance number. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon to get new Cinemagic reviews.